Hello, Africa. This is Business Africa, and I am Ignatius Ano. Our top stories. The blockade of one of the busiest trade routes in the world puts pressure on the shipping industry. With hope in sight for free flow of traffic on the Suez Canal in Egypt, we find out how to forestall future occurrences. Good news for the continent. The African Development Bank expects positive economic outlook for 2021 as Libya leads with 37.5% economic growth forecast. And a little later, we head to Kenya, where climate change is leading to the harvest of poor yield of coffee beans, a huge concern to farmers. Details right now. A stranded ship finally freed after nearly a week of blockade. Christened as Ever Given, the blockade on the Suez Canal in Egypt kept companies on their toes. With daily costs piling up, some had to reroute ships, meaning several more days of travel time, fuel and other costs for the over 360 vessels aboard the ship. An estimated $9.6 billion worth of goods are held up. Egypt alone lost between $12 to $50 million a day. About 12% of global trade transit through the Suez Canal. We'll find out how to avoid future occurrences. But first, here's a report on how the blockade has impacted industries.
It has been an unexpected collateral impact of the Suez Canal blockade, with the Ever Given container ship coming to a stop. Close to 400 carrier vessels, including supertankers, had to hold their journey, resulting in oil prices going on a roller coaster ride. On Thursday, the price of the black gold lost about 4% before starting again and closing higher the next day. As the Ever Given was freed on Monday, world oil prices eased. For analysts, the fluctuation of the figures is far from worrying. Despite delays in delivering crude oil, stocks are still large enough to absorb the impact, according to Toril Bozzoni.
The response to the crisis has been relatively muted so far because the disruption is coming at a time when the oil market is still recovering from the pandemic. Oil inventories have been coming down, but they're still relatively ample. Oil inventories in all of the OECD regions are above year-ago levels. So I think that the market is pretty comfortable that we can absorb the disruptions for some time to come.
Efforts to free the Ever Given took almost a week, leading to costly delays on shipping companies already dealing with the repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic. The price of sea transport for petroleum products had already nearly doubled.
As I said, we're not losing any oil supply, but we will tie up tankers for longer if they have to go around. It takes an additional roughly 2 weeks to go around to Cape Horn, so that will tie up the tankers for longer to getting the oil from A to B, which push up the freight rates.
According to data from Refinitiv, Egypt, which considers the canal a crucial source of revenue, lost over $95 million in tolls.
Dr. Kofi Mbia is a trade and transport law consultant. The former chief executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority joins us from Accra. Thank you for your time, Dr. Mbia. You've been in the shipping industry for decades. Can you help us understand why transit on the Suez Canal in Egypt should be concerning not only to industry players, but consumers, particularly on the continent?
We are talking more importantly about the connection between Europe and Asia. However, today, because of interconnectedness, even though this is a link between Europe and Asia, there are impacts that affect Africa as well. Industry is affected because today, a number of raw materials come from Asia, especially China, into Europe, where finished products are manufactured and then they are sent into various parts in Africa. I must add very quickly that the east coast of Africa is likely to be affected far more than the west coast of Africa because of the connectivity to the Suez Canal.
Analysts say it will take at most 4 weeks to supply goods. Because of the backlog the delay has caused, how impactful was the blockade on industries in Africa, and can we quantify the cost at this moment?
A lot of these are also on the basis of just-in-time deliveries that must come for goods to be manufactured in Europe and sent to various parts in Africa. While consumers wait for this, there would be delays. The ship owners in situations like this may declare general average, and consequently, they will call upon consumers to make contributions towards the general average. It is not certain yet whether general average has been declared, but there will also be issues of insurance costs, which has to be paid out by insurance companies because of what has happened. There will also be issues of salvage, and salvors would make claims.
Investigations are underway to unravel what really happened, but reports have cited a human error leading to the blockade. So the big question is, how can such a scenario be avoided in the future?
This is the first time we have had as many as about 6 to 7 days. So indeed, quite rightly, this is significant for the Ever Given. The potential for this happening has always been there, and this has been known by ship owners. And when you face inclement weather, such as the one faced by the Ever Given, the gush of high winds and making the master lose control, then the likelihood of this calamity is real. In fact, because of that, some ship owners do special simulation exercises, for their captain or masters, so that they simulate the passage through the Suez Canal. It is important to remember that every incident or every casualty requires its own investigation, which will bring out the circumstances of that casualty, and that then would inform further action to be taken in future.
You're welcome back to the program, and I am Ignatius Ano. In 2020, Africa recorded its worst economic recession in half a century due to the health crisis. But there's some relief ahead in 2021 as the African Development Bank forecast a positive economic outlook for all African economies. A rebound in tourism, commodity prices and a rollback of COVID-19 related restrictions are expected to lead to this projected recovery. In its Economic Outlook 2021 report, the AFDB says Libya's economy, which suffered a contraction of -60.3% last year, will lead the continent with an economic growth rate of 37.5% this year.
The Continental Financial Body says African economies should slowly see a recovery from the shocks of the coronavirus. This year, the AFDB hopes to see an average growth to recover to 3.4% gross domestic product. 10 African economies will see a growth rate of more than 5%. Libya is expected to record the highest economic growth this year at 37.5%. Djibouti comes second at 9.9%, followed by Botswana and Mauritius at 7.5% each. Niger 6.9%, Ivory Coast 6.2%, Eritrea 5.7%, Guinea 5.6%, Burkina Faso and Senegal round up the top 10 at 5.1% each. Regionally, North Africa will lead in African growth with an average rate of 4%. Southern and Central region at 3.2% each. East Africa at 3%, while West Africa will close the gap with 2.8%.
In central Kenya, climate change has taken a toll on coffee farmers. Unpredictable rainfall patterns and rising temperatures have left farmers harvesting poor yields. The local farmers have devised ways to avoid being shortchanged by nature, apply nutrients onto crops, installing irrigation systems and hiring extra hands to pick berries for extended periods. But this is costing more money and eating into the profits the farmers make. As the fifth largest producer of Arabica coffee on the continent, the current situation is deeply concerning for stakeholders.
Coffee plantations occupy a total of 110,000 hectares across Kenya. Farmers say these areas have been severely impacted by climate change. Because of these stresses related to this impact, some farmers are now uprooting their coffee plants in favor of other plants such as avocados. Farmers are uprooting coffee trees. I depend on coffee farms and I earn $4 per day. If farmers continue to uproot coffee trees, I do not know where I would get $4 or what I would do. According to the Coffee Research Institute, due to climate change, there are now fewer but heavier storms. This is accompanied by extreme changes in daily temperature from cold nights to hot days.
In Kenya, we produce Arabica coffee, which prefers cool and wet conditions. Because of increase of temperature caused by climate change and depressed rains, then we have poorer quality of the yields and poorer amounts of the yields.
An increase in temperature disrupts the process and causes some trees to wilt. Kenya's coffee production was projected to decline to 40,000 tons in 2020, down from 47,000 tons in 2016.
And that's it for Business Africa. You can be a part of the program via our various social media handles. Follow me on Twitter at Ignatius Anum. Also, head over to Africanews.com for the entire program and more. I thank you for watching and goodbye.